Namaste, and welcome to the Fourth Niyama. The Fourth Niyama is a place where conversations on timeless teachings of Yogacharya BKS Iyengar unfold. In this podcast, we explore the vast subject of Iyengar Yoga with senior Iyengar Yoga teachers, who are direct disciples of Guruji. Here, they reflect on their yoga journeys, share their lifelong lessons, and recount moments of joy and growth when studying under the guidance of their Guru BKS Iyengar. I'm your host, Katerina Fiadyuk. I'm an Iyengar Yoga student. My journey with Iyengar Yoga began in 2018, and over these 5 years I developed a strong interest to the subject, which eventually brought me to India. Here, I have been studying with some great Iyengar Yoga teachers, Usha Devi in Rishikesh, Siddharth Bangera in Mumbai, who themselves studied under the direct guidance of BKS Iyengar. Studying with them has been a privilege and an inspiration that led me to start this podcast. In the first episode of the podcast, I'm honored to introduce Usha Devi, a direct disciple of BKS Iyengar and a senior teacher of Iyengar Yoga. In fact, Usha Ji never calls herself a teacher, but a senior student of Guruji BKS Iyengar. What are the essential qualities that every yoga student should cultivate? How can we conquer our fears through the practice of yoga? How can yoga help in recovery and healing after serious life accidents? Usha Devi has learned through her own experience that hard work, determination, humbleness, and fearlessness are the key practices to achieve physical and mental health, develop a deeper understanding of one's true nature.
So Guruji had to do a lot of effort to make me to come out of this fear, So it was amazing. How many times a child, when it starts walking, how many times it falls down, but again it gets up. So we have to do it.
Just continue.
And one day we will be successful. Maybe it takes long time, it takes even longer time.
Yeah. Usha Devi teaches at the Iyengar Yoga Center in Rishikesh in India. She is Swiss by origin, but since late 1970s she has lived in India. In her life, Usha Ji met with 2 terrible accidents. The second accident fractured both her thigh bones and bent the implanted metal supports meant to heal the previous injury. Doctors performed 23 operations, after which she was in bed for 8 months. Years after the accident, she confessed that minutes after she had opened her eyes, she knew she was going to be fine. She knew Guruji would help her get back on her feet. In her teaching, Usha Devi is very precise and strict. As a result, her students are often astonished by the level of personal application and awareness that they are able to achieve during her classes. For many, the first impression is of a hard, demanding teacher. This is true, but students quickly realize that Usha Devi's disciplined approach arises from a genuine love for others and a natural selflessness, which enables her to form quite a unique relationship with her students in her classes. One more note about this episode. It's accompanied by a symphony of chaotic sounds from a vibrant Indian city. The audio quality may not be very podcast-friendly, as the interview was recorded almost in the heart of busy Rishikesh city. But you'll get a true sense of an immersive sensory experience that envelops every inhabitant and guest of Rishikesh. Now, let us go. Chalo. Usha Ji, my first question is about the origin of your yoga journey. How did Iyengar Yoga come into your life, and was there any conflict with what you were practicing before?
You see, I was not practicing yoga before. I was, when I came to India, when with my husband, first of all, we did a lot of food journey. And then, of course, once Siddhartha was born, then we had to settle down. So we settled down in Rishikesh, in the Omkarananda ashram. And so there I was learning the puja vidyas. So how to do Shiva Abhisheka, how to do Krishna Abhisheka, how to do Havana. So the whole Havana Vidya. I learned, and so we did it, every day. We did it from maybe 5 o'clock, 1.5, 2 hours in the ashram. We used to do Havana, then puja, and like so. I was really completely into that. I was not interested in yoga at all, because at that time it was very it was considered as very physical. It was a new time, And then
What year was it?
That was maybe in the 80s, and then but then after some time I became boring. And why boring? Because I learned the Sanskrit text, everything how to pronounce. But then very often when I asked our priest the meaning and like this, so it was not clear. So I was a little feeling boring. And then also we still did it, we did on Padayatra, so, on foot journey we were, even when Siddhartha was very small. So we used to travel on foot along the rivers for months and months together. And then sometimes when we came to a village, they asked us to do puja and then doing bandara and like this, And then it happened that we were near Mahavidyalaya. And then I asked her if I can learn certain stotrams. And they refused, because I'm a woman. And at that time it was considered you can recite the Bhagavad Gita, no problem, but you are not allowed to recite the Vedic mantras. So, and in this Puja Vidya, there are many Vedic mantras. So sometimes what happened when we did it, there were some priests there, some brahmacharis were there, some brahmins were there, and the moment we chanted the Vedic mantras, they left. Because they said that it is a sin to listen this from the mouth of a woman. So, and then Siddhartha started studying in Kailash Ashram. And then also Siddhartha, one day he came home and he said, Mataji, you should not do it. I said, okay, I have no problem. I don't have to do it, so you do it. So now he does it. So because he also learned it when he was very small. Then I started for 7 years, I started classical Hindustani music, singing with harmonium. And I really studied very sincerely, doing a lot of practice in the morning. It was my sadhana, And then, of course, with the long sitting, my back started
those starts with pain.
Paining, And at that time, the ashram started doing this guest house, but it was not so big, And then there was one boy in the office. He used to go to Rudra. So he used to study there, and then he said, why you don't, and he started teaching a little. At that time the yoga hall was much smaller. And then I said, no, I'm not interested, this is very physical and like this. He said no. Then every time I had to come to the office, he tried to convince me, and he brought light on yoga also. And then he said, at least study light on yoga. I said, no, I'm not interested, and like this,
Very stubborn.
So, I'm like that, and so, and then it happened, my back pain became more and more, and Siddhartha and his father, they went on foot to Yamunotri. So then I thought, okay, I'm a little free, so I started practicing, and then I took some classes with Rudra, and then of course Guruji came, and then of course that meeting Guruji really, I think I was practicing for 4 months when Guruji came first time, and that changed my mind, So because then he went to Shivananda Ashram also, he talked on the Patanjala Yoga Sutras. At that time, Swami Krishnananda was still alive, So, and Swami Krishnananda was considered the great scholar. But really, when I listened to Guruji and to both of them, they were talking, with Guruji, everything was, whatever he spoke, it was pure experience. And he brought it with yoga together. So, and then, of course, I got more and more involved, and then he came here, and so like this, and then, of course, he said, anytime, because Siddhartha was still just 7 years old, something like that. So in the beginning it was difficult to go, because in India at that time to leave your child alone, it was considered very bad, So then Guruji completely understood this, and he said, as soon you are free, you can come. So I started, I think in 92. I started first time going to Pune.
Okay, so Guruji came here, you met
for
him.
the yoga festival.
For the yoga festival.
Yes,
you
yes.
met him for the first time?
Yeah.
And it clicked.
Yes,
You just
because he was a person of... you see, you meet very few people like this. So by him, I had immediately that feeling that power, and from him that he really talks only what he has experienced. That was like a acharya, who teaches what. And with Guruji, I had this experience with Siddhartha's father. I had, and if they did not wanted to talk or did not wanted to say it, then they just keep silence, so very, very truthful, So I felt immediately very, very, yes, it was just, I don't know, And then, of course, also what he was teaching, I felt it's very safe, because a lot of things are happening with all kinds of practices, So, and with Guruji, everything was so safe. And I asked him once in Pune, because I used to sit in the library where he was in the afternoon. He was every afternoon from 3 to 6 he was in the library. So I used to go there every day. And then I asked him once, Guruji, but why are you not teaching these things, all these vidyas, kriyas and like this, And then he said he was practicing it, but then he saw the consequences. And so that's why he's not teaching it, So, and this also really made me very, so...
That you could trust him.
Yeah, I fully trusted him, so...
You were involved into 2 serious road accidents in which you suffered severe injuries, and it took a long time to reclaim your health. You also mentioned that your recovery only occurred with the help of Guruji's instructions and blessings. How did you feel back then, approaching your teacher, your guru, and asking for his help in your recovery?
You see what happened, so because when Siddhartha was small, so I couldn't just go to Pune. So I had really, and I made a vow, so that I will not go anywhere, not go anywhere, just practice. Go to Rudra, practice here, and this is my sadhana, And so almost 6 years passed, with really intense practice. So, and yes, and then of course, I went twice to Pune, and then so I came out, and I came out of this sadhana, and yes, then and then when I came first time to Pune, Guruji called me, and he said, don't spoil my name in your ashram in Rishikesh. He said like this, So I don't know why he said this, And then I said, no, Guruji, and then he said, don't go roam here and there in Pune, what people normally do. So in Pune, when I was in Pune, so in the morning, I got 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock for the practice. practiced till 12 o'clock, went home, rest, 3 o'clock library, then 6 o'clock class, then going home. So, really that Guruji could see that I'm really not going anywhere, and I do what he is saying, So, and he observed it. He observed this. Short before he left his body, we were sitting in the reception, and then we just talked. We often used to, when he used to sit there, we used to talk. And then I said to him, Guruji, still, I'm not going anywhere. And then he said, yes, I can see. So like this. And then, of course, somehow I was not really anymore happy, satisfied with the practice with Rudra. So I went to Swati and Rajiv. And of course in Dehradun with my scooty. And of course then the accident happened.
So you were on your way to the
yes. And Swati all the time said to me, Usha, ring up before you come, because sometimes there's no class. So not that you come and then there is no class, And then of course on that day she was surprised why I'm not there, because normally I ring up, and then of course I was in the hospital, and there was almost 2 months I was in the hospital. And then of course in the beginning I don't know what happened, because I was full of medication. I shouldn't move. I was in the ICU and like this and like that. And then I think after 2 weeks I opened my eyes, and then I saw my arm is hanging, my leg is hanging, I can't move, and of course, but not really. Still not really clear. Some people came, some students, they came to meet me, but I saw their faces, but I was not. And then when I came, then better and better, and I immediately wrote a letter to Guruji. And of course, Swati and Rajiv, they informed Guruji also, And so I wrote a letter with my left hand, and then one lady in the ashram, who was knowing quite good English, she corrected my letter, because it was all, it was really, of course, and then Guruji got informed and like this. And then Swati was thinking, they came almost every day, they came to see me, and Rajiv gave me some pillows, which was although very difficult to sit, but just to open little chest, and then some pranayama and like this, which really helped me, And then after, I think in summer, they went to Pune, and they asked the doctor to give the X-rays, so that they can show it to Guruji, And then the doctor didn't want to give it. And then we were really requesting, And then the doctor said, you can have it, but they should not show it to me. So, and then they got it, but I saw it. I said, no, Swati, you have to show me when the doctor is not nearby. So, and of course I was shocked to see what, yes. So then they took the X-ray to Guruji, and when Guruji saw the X-rays, he said, don't touch her. Don't touch her. Let everything be healed, and then I can come. And then of course once I was at home, then I was more in contact with Guruji, and so it took 2 years. 2 years. He said, you only come when you're able to work independent, And because at that time flying was very expensive also, so we had to go by train. Yes, and then in 2000 I went. In 98 it happened, so in 2000 I went. And the first thing, but he didn't check the X-rays anymore. So he just asked me, show me how quickly, how fast you can walk. And that was it. And then he started with me the medical classes.
So how long did you stay for the first time when you came to
In
Pune?
the first day, first time after the accident, only 1.5 months, because there was no need of staying longer. And then every year I increased up to 3 months until to the last night before Guruji left. Even before the corona, I was all the time 2 or 3 months, sometimes even more. I was in Pune.
So you said that he did not allow anyone to touch you. So during the medical classes, he was the only one.
In the beginning,
adjusting and
yes,
working
in
with
the
you.
beginning only, and only Stephanie was with him. Stephanie was, she was from New Zealand or Australia, and he considered her the mother of medical for the Westerners. Yes. And so she was all the time with him. And then when he said to her something, then she has to arrange, and then she had to call him, and then he used to come, and then he used to see, and then yes. Because it was really very bad, you know. So.
And knowing the nature of your healing journey, does it mean that in order for one to become a successful teacher, one necessarily has to go through some misery and pain?
You see, even at that time, I never thought to become a teacher. I tell you very frankly, you know, and of course what I wanted to say also, the moment I opened my eyes and I was able to think, you know, then I was knowing Guruji will help me. And so that's why I took it. I was not so sad, you know. It was not like I lost everything, because I know Guruji was there and he will be there, you know. So that gave me a lot of, and he was, you know. And of course, I never thought to become a teacher. In opposite, when little later. Yes, when I really was able to start my practice again, so he sent Annette from Pune. She was also a long time in Pune, so he was knowing she's coming to Rishikesh. So he sent her here with a letter and said that Annette is coming, so she can help you. And he told her what to do so that I can come back to my practice. And he all the time he encouraged me and said, you will be back in your practice with your willpower and like that, you know. So and he really encouraged me. Although I sometimes was very much also down, you know, doing intense practice before, and now everything is changed, and you can't do things anymore which you used to do, and so like this, it was tough, you know. But somehow Guruji was all the time there, you know, and and then one day I said, when he said again, and then he used to start sending Subin here to help me to bring up the center, you know. And then, of course, then one day he said, you see, Usha, now I can't send all the time people, now you start teaching. And then I said, but Guruji, you know, I have not started yoga to become a teacher. Then he said, I know. And he said he was also thinking like that. But once you have the knowledge, you should start, you know. So, and then slowly, I just started because that boy was still here. So I started just that when I next time to go to Pune, so I can say, yes, Guruji. But then slowly.
So your first reaction to Guruji's assignment for you to be a teacher was?
It's not no. Because I was just, for me, it was my sadhana, you know, and
But when was the moment when you felt that, okay, this is the right thing for me to do?
You see, I did it because he said it, you know. So, and normally if a guru says something, you should do it, you know. So, so I started slowly started. Yeah.
Do you remember your first class, maybe?
Yes, of course I was like this. But then, you know, and so...
Yeah, you mentioned that you were the first woman in Rishikesh to teach.
Yes.
And what was the reaction?
See, the reaction was, of course, it was, I don't know, but people who were knowing me, first of all, they were saying, why is Usha doing this? Because, you know, she's knowing all the mantras, she's knowing this, studying, and then her husband is a great scholar, and like Siddhartha, and like this, you know, and why she's going to yoga, which is so physical, and like this, you know, and some also had that feeling this is her bad karma, because she has gone away from her path, which I have not gone away from my path, you know. So people used to take it in this direction, you know. So and of course, especially when I had the second accident, you know, and people from Shivananda Ashram, because we were connected from the ashram in Shivananda Ashram, and like this, she's now doing her yoga again, and then she had her second accident, you know, and so people connect, you know. So, but what to do? But
you did not listen to this.
No, if I do something, and you see. My husband, Siddhartha's father, we don't say husband, so I say Siddhartha's father, so he had no objection. And then even Swami Omkarananda, he had no objection, because Swami Omkarananda was in Shivananda Ashram. So, and Shivananda had great respect for Guruji. So, you know, there was a connection, and and then he asked me to send Light on Yoga and all his, whatever books were available, Light on Pranayama, send it to the ashram in Switzerland. And Swami Omkarananda supported me fully, and or even Subin. And then he said, right, you should build a university and like this, and he offered us even Gita Sadal to make a beautiful center there. But then Subin got married, so the things changed, you know, and but he all the time helped me. Although he was very tough with me, very strict, you know. So, but I'm a person who needs this, you know, because I need people who tell me, look, Usha, it's not like this, it's like this, you know. So I'm a little like that, you know, and I all the time I said, see, I had only 2-3 people in my life to whom I listened, you know. So otherwise I don't listen to them, because I have to do what I feel is right, you know. So,
since you started mentioning the toughness, did Guruji teach you how to shout at the students?
No. He did it with me. He called it me. I don't know. You see, he said, you are living in an ashram and you behave like this. And then when I have fear, you know, sometimes I was afraid, breaking again something, and you're teaching philosophy, studying philosophy, and you behave like this. And so like this all the time, you know. And, you know, this is... I don't know I should say, but in fact Guruji never taught somebody to be like this. But we like imitating Guruji, you know, especially in the beginning, you know. So we think, okay, you know, which I'm not doing now. And I think we all do this in the beginning, you know, especially those who were maybe very close to Guruji.
You kind of inherit the style.
Yeah. So, you see, Guruji, whatever he did, he was very strict, but he was doing it because he loved us and he wanted us to do it properly, and especially when you are a teacher. You know, when you become a teacher, you do be a teacher. So he didn't wanted us to do wrong things, you know. So, but from inside, Guruji was very loving. And of course, sometimes I was really afraid because of all the pain and the injuries and like this. And I mean, I had to face terrible pain, you know. But I did it because many times I wanted to run away. I tell you very frankly. But then I thought, my God, Guruji is putting so much in me. And if I run away, I will not be able to come back and face Guruji, you know. So no, okay, let me go through it. Let me go through it, you know. So, you know, I mean, Guruji exactly knowing how far to go, where to go, you know. And sometimes he asked me to do something, then he came back running, not do like this, do like this. And sometimes in the medical classes, students who are watching the medical classes, they asked me why Guruji is changing all the time. Changing, you know. I said, I don't know. But then I asked Guruji, and I said, Guruji, they are asking me why you are changing all the time. Then he said he can see on the color of the skin or how the muscle moves. And he can immediately see, and if it goes wrong, I will be in the hospital again, you know. So like this, you know. So he was exactly knowing what he was doing, you know. It was amazing. And then when he was knowing that I have to go home soon, the really the way of how he changed my practice, you know, so that when I'm at home, I can really safe practicing, you know, so I don't have to be afraid to do something wrong and like this, you know. So he was guiding me like a torch, like a light, you know, really amazing. And I could nicely do, faithfully, I could do the practice after when I was home, and then of course going next year again, you know. It was amazing, you know. And then, you know, also sometimes I was wondering, what did I do wrong? Guruji did not touch me for days together, you know. And then we talked about this, you know. And I feel something, maybe I've done something wrong or what is happening. But then he said, of course he knows how far to go, when to help, when not to help, so that nothing wrong. He said something like, you know, when the joint or the body becomes like a stumba, like a wood, and he would go further, you know, like a heart, like, you know, then sure it will be bad for me, and so like this. So he really, so I could fully trust to him, although sometimes the pain was so much that there was fear also, you know. And I mean, in the beginning when I came the first time after the first accident, I think it took him 2 weeks to take out the fear of me. Because I was all the time hardening. And Stephanie said, Usha, and you really look like you have just come out of the hospital, the way of how you behave, you know. So Guruji had to do a lot of effort to make me to come out of this fear, you know. So it was amazing how he tricked me, how he put me sometimes in supported postures where my head is down.
What are these exercises and practices that you should do to come out of fear?
Yeah, so that mostly he put me in Urdhva Dhanurasana on the stool, and then of course I couldn't lift up. They had to lift me up, you know. So where my head is down, and then of course Shirshasana. And they had to lift me up, they had to lift me, bring me down, you know. Then they had to support me with ropes. So all these things where my head was down, so that
There is less thinking.
because you are disconnected. You're more disconnected, you know. And then it was like a small child, you know, when you go to the dentist. When the dentist has to give you an injection, he tries to, so you were only knowing when the injection was over. So with Guruji it was also so like this, you know. So so that the mind is not involved, you know. So and then he did what he had to do, you know.
So easy. Yes. I read recently about the key elements of a great teacher, yoga teacher. First ones that Guruji mentioned were cautious, observant, and creative. So the creativity has to be there, that don't come to the practice and practice the same thing over and over again, so it becomes mechanical, but you have to bring new action also for the brain to expand,
exactly.
for the intelligence.
Exactly. And even he used to tell those helping in the medical classes, you should practice and imagine the problem, and then with that problem, imagine that problem, and then do your practice and see what it means. That is how he learned, you know. So and that was before my accident. Short before my accident, I was practicing, and then he called me, and he said, have you studied the Hatha Yoga Pratipika? What it means? I said, willpower. Then he said, did you study? I said, no, reading. I didn't study it, but I read it. So, and then he said, this is not something to be read, it has to be studied. Then I said, okay, yes. You know, so I was somehow a little proud also, because at that time people didn't study really much. It was before Yoga Sutra, Patanjala Yoga Sutras came into existence with his book, before his book, you know. And then he said, do you think you develop willpower when you just practice what you like to practice? And then I said, no, go and practice now, you know. And because I hated standing postures. I felt so boring, you know. So, but then I started doing standing postures. I really started practicing what I didn't like, you know. And of course there. But here I did what I wanted. And Supin also, when Supin once came, I was doing jumping full lumbar length, jumping to Urdhva Dhanurasana with the feet on the platform. So jumping up and down, you know. And then Zubin came inside, and he said, what are you doing? I said, can't you see? And then he said, look at your standing postures, they're terrible. So like go back to your standing postures. What is this? It's like a drug. He said, I said, no, it makes me peaceful. Wow. It's just like a drug. So do your standing postures now. And see, and then he criticized each and everything in my Trikonasana. So then I understood, okay, it's high time that I start correcting my standing postures. And somehow I started liking it. And then of course after the accident, mostly standing postures. So I started more and more penetrating, because I had to be very careful, mindful, you know, with all the injuries, and that brought me deeper and deeper inwards, you know. And that was also beautiful. And Guruji, when he gave me an instruction, he all the time made it sure that I'm doing. And so I learned a lot, you know. And I heard, he never said it to me, but because Stephanie was there, So he said, no, she understands. She understands. You know, so I was from inside very happy because it was a very tough time, because before you did everything, now you can't do anything, and then you hear when he says
praises.
Yeah, so I was really happy, and then even sometimes. When I started doing back bends, Urdhva of course I had to do it in a different way, But I really learned how to lift the pelvis and like this, And Guruji said openly, see, she's doing much better than you people. So I was very happy, And then of course there were some students who said this is not nice when Guruji says like this. But for me,
it was hard.
It was, little when you are so down, So it was nice. So he encouraged me, So which you really need at that time, So
can you tell even that some of the actions in different asanas you understood on a deeper level after the accident?
Yes, and I was surprised, Of course, in the beginning there was only pain, so there's no understanding. But once the pain has gone, I was really sometimes surprised, Sometimes Guruji, this was amazing with Guruji, he does something with you, and it happens. It happens what he wants to happen. Then you go home, practice, nothing comes. Nothing, And then you start even forgetting, because, and then sometimes once the pain has gone, somehow some movement is taking place. And I was sometimes surprised how these things which Guruji told me, they're just happening. I just became aware of it, So they were there, but I was not aware of it, So it was really, it was very amazing. It was very amazing. And as Guruji sometimes said, every cell has awareness, So it looked to me like little like that, And then of course he used to say also, the more you are aware, actions, they come in flashes. So you do an action, then there is a reaction, so it comes in flashes. And of course you only capture them because they come very quickly when you are aware, when your mind is involved, So and this really happened. And then of course he told me also, so then once you can catch that reaction, so make again from that reaction, make an action out of it, which sometimes then again it didn't happen, But so like this, it was really, it was amazing. It was amazing, It was just, and so things surfaced,
It comes with long practice and very diligent and disciplined practice to catch this subtle
to catch
sensations.
Because they're so subtle, So, and of course in the beginning you can't catch them, can't see them because there's only pain, Once Kitaji really shouted at me, and then I was really almost crying, and I did really, I tried my best. And then afterwards I went to her and I said, Pitaji, I really tried, but I don't understand what you said because there's only pain. So and then she really helped me, because I think, I don't know, but and since then she never scolded me again. So in opposite, So, yeah, it's...
Yeah, you have to be sensitive.
Yeah,
as well.
because also you see, when even a beginner, when there is so much stiffness, you just struggle with the stiffness, So till you really get some little understanding, So if you are really a sincere practitioner, and don't just take it as a practice, take it as a sadhana, then I think things are happening from inside, and they're just surfacing, you know. So this is how I feel, you know. So I can't say how a teacher should be, you know. So, but this is my you see, I'm living a very simple life, you know. See, what do I do? I get up 3 o'clock in the morning, you know, 3:30. Then I take my bath. Then I do my prayers. I do my practice, means I do some pranayama. First the prayer, then some pranayama. Then I have some breakfast. Then I come down, I do my practice. Then I do my karma yoga, because I have to work for the ashram also. Then after the class I go home, take a bath if it's very hot, do some short prayer and just go to sleep, you know. And no, people ask me, Usha, you never go for holidays, I never go out to eat, you know, so my life is so different, you know. So for me it's just my sadhana, you know. And so I think if a teacher is completely involved in this, I think you are different, you are from inside different, and things are surfacing. And I think this is important. You can't just practice and do whatever you like, living all kinds of life, social life, you know. So this is sometimes what I feel. So my life was here like this, even right from the beginning when I came to India, when I used to live in a cave, completely isolated, do my sadhana there. Of course, at that time it was a different sadhana. It was not what it is. This changed when I got married, and so like this. But so I was really taking the things seriously, you know, not lightly. So there was just sadhana, karma yoga. You see, also even with food, you know, people say, Usha, you eat all the time the same food, rice, vegetables. I said, yes, because it's what people eat here also, you know, and I'm happy, I'm satisfied. And you see, somehow the body tells you what to eat and what not to eat, you know. The more you practice, you feel it from inside, you know. And you naturally change when it gets hotter, warmer, the diet is what you eat is changed. So many things, the sleep is changed. You know, we have 6 seasons, so somehow there's a change from inside, you know. A natural, healthy change, you know. The discipline comes, of course, in the beginning it's from outside, but then somehow it comes from inside naturally, you know.
There is a beautiful expression of Guruji that a disciplined person is a free person.
Yes.
And it's so simple.
Yes, and it's true.
Yes.
It's really true, you know. So
yeah, like yesterday we were doing full arm balance, and I was not able to go to the wall. And the phrase that yes, you have to put an effort, and yes, you fail 100 times. You know, it was very supportive to me that I was not chasing immediate success, that I would reach the wall. I knew that yes, okay, now it's not coming, but I just have to practice and have to.
How many times a child, when it starts walking, how many times it falls down, but again it gets up. So we have to do it.
Just continue.
And one day we will be successful. Maybe it takes long time, it takes even longer time.
Yeah. What is your message to a student who just begins their journey with Iyengar Yoga? And what is your message to a serious practitioner, maybe even a teacher, to sustain with their practice?
You see, of course, to a student, to a beginner, said you just have to practice, you know, and of course, to a teacher, we have to be sincere to ourselves, you know, and we should not put ourselves over the student. You see, I all the time, you see, for we are all students, and I feel I'm a lifelong student.
You never said that you're a Iyengar teacher. You always said that you're a senior Iyengar student.
And you see, just last year when I went to the yoga festival, they made these leaflets. And then they wrote about me also, and I said I want to see it before, and they announced Guru. I said, please don't write these things, don't use any title for me. I'm a student, I'm a practitioner, and I will be only that much, nothing else, you know. And that is what we somehow learned from Guruji, you know. For me, there is no one, it's only Guruji and nobody else, you know. So how can I, and you see, every time I went to Pune, I went to Guruji, I realized how little I know. I'm nowhere, you know, and I'm nowhere even what little I teach. Here it's I'm nowhere, you know, I'm really nowhere. Many times I fail. I do not know. I fail. So how, you know, so I think even if we are a senior teacher, we should all the time remain students.
Be humble.
Yes, if you're a student, you will be humble and yes, because knowledge is endless. So how can you say I know, you know? So, yes, and don't put yourself above. And if we are more than others, then why would we be here in this world? You know? So,
it is like here in India that everyone approaches everyone with Didi and Bhaiya, sister and brother.
Yeah.
That we're all here.
Yes,
all
we're
equal.
belonging to the same family, you know? So,
what is your favorite asana?
you see, now I can't say. There's nothing like, for me there is now nothing like this is more, it's for me it's important how I can penetrate. And there is, there's depth in every asana. So, just think about how endless is that asana.
Yes.
So it's in every asana. But I remember this was also something very beautiful to observe Guruji when he was teaching kids. And he really became a kid. Really. And I remember once when he was teaching crocodile pose, you know, this jumping.
Yes, Makarasana.
Yes, Makarasana. It was amazing. It was really like, and these kids, they enjoyed so much, you know. They really, so he was completely one with them, you know. And this was also a greatness of him, to be one with that situation where he was, you know. And yes, when he was with kids, when he was with older people, when he was different people, to be with.
It comes with the state of egolessness.
Yes, because you are completely, you know, you're like, we say like the flute of Sri Krishna. You're empty from inside to let sound come, you know. Or of course, my music teacher used to say, when you want to learn, you have to be clean like a white wall. You know, not like a wall which things are written on it. You know, so really, you know, you understand.
Yes.
So and it's like that, you know. So and of course, Guruji was that when he stood in front of the students, when he in the medical classes, all these patients, every patient was different for him. He completely sacrificed, you know, giving. Amazing, you know, really amazing how he saw each and every person differently, you know. I was even sometimes also surprised. There were other people with hip problems also, you know, and different practitioners. And I was surprised we never had the same practice. we worked on in different ways, you know. So according to the person, you know, was really amazing.
Yeah, as if he had X-ray and could
Yes,
see
yes,
but also
yes.
emotional state of a person.
Yes, and you see, in front of Guruji you couldn't speak lie. He even if he wouldn't say, but he would know, you know, lie or something. So immediately, that was, it made me sometimes fearful, you know. Because for me, you know, such people are very rare. Huh?
Yeah.
He wouldn't judge you also, you know. So, you know, it's not like like a father. Of course, he, you know, of course.
Strict and loving
Yeah,
at the same time.
yes. But forgiving also, you know.
That's important. Okay, I would not hold more of your time.
This has been an absolute pleasure, and I'm really grateful for the opportunity to speak with Usha Devi. Thank you for tuning in. May you find abundant support in your practice through this podcast, and may it be an inspiration for you in your own study and discovery of self. See you in the next episode.